They were one of the most viral high school basketball teams of all time. This team from California was led by the #1 ranked player in the entire country and another 5-star guard starting alongside him in the backcourt. The talent level and personality of this team captivated the attention of basketball fans across the globe. Their documentary series on Overtime's YouTube channel totaled over 17 million views, making it one of the most watched high school basketball docu-series in history. But this team took over high school hoops over 3 years ago, and every player from that team is now finding success at the next level. So where are they now? Every player from Jalen Green's legendary high school basketball team, 2019 Prolific Prep. Let's start off with a little more context about the program. Prolific Prep was founded by Jeremy Rusati and Philippe Doherty in 2013. They were essentially the pioneers when it comes to the basketball prep academies that we know today. Josh Jackson, who ended up going number 4 overall in the NBA draft, was actually Prolific Prep's first player in 2013. Over the next few years, Prolific Prep grew into one of the top high school programs in the country, obtaining better and better talent each year, including another future NBA player, Gary Trent Jr. But the hype surrounding this program reached an all-time high when in March of 2019, the #1 player in the country, Jalen Green, announced he would be transferring to Prolific Prep for his senior year of high school. Jalen was joining a team that already featured a ton of high major D1 and future NBA talent. Everyone expected this squad to be one of the most exciting and successful high school teams in the nation heading into that 2019-20 season. They had so much hype that Overtime picked up a documentary series that was to be done on them, and the rest is history. The world simply fell in love with this squad. But like I said before, it has been 3 years since that memorable season where they went 31-3 and won the Grind Session Championship. So for the rest of this video, I will be taking a look back at what happened to each of the players on that squad after that 2019-20 season. First up, we got Jack Wetzel. Jack grew up in Cedar Rapids, Iowa, but was recruited to play his senior year at Prolific Prep after he had a 44-point performance with Gain Elite at an Adidas Gauntlet event. Jack was the class clown of the team. He really became a fan favorite among viewers of the Overtime series. After graduating high school, Jack committed to play D1 basketball at the University of Montana. In his freshman season there, Jack wasn't able to carve out much of a role. He appeared in just 10 games and averaged only 4 minutes in those appearances. Jack decided to transfer after that season to Southeastern Community College in his home state of Iowa. And this season for Southeastern, Jack is averaging 11 points per game and has started in all 25 of their games. Next up, we got Mawet Mag. Mawet was a senior on that 2019 Prolific team, averaging 10 points per game. He was rated as a 3-star recruit and ended up committing to Rutgers. Mawet didn't play much in his freshman year with the Scarlet Knights, but his role expanded in his sophomore year where he appeared in 28 games. But he really broke out this season, his junior year. Mawet started the first 23 games for Rutgers and was averaging 8 points and 5 rebounds a game. He even made a game-sealing 3-pointer in overtime in a game against Ohio State. But unfortunately, it was announced on February 7th that he will miss the remainder of this season with a torn ACL. Next up, we got another senior on that team, Saba Gigi Baria, the 7-foot Georgian center. Saba was a 3-star recruit and committed to Georgia Tech. He too didn't carve out much of a role in his first 2 years of college. In his sophomore year at Georgia Tech, he was averaging just 8 minutes a game. After that sophomore year, he decided to transfer to the University of San Francisco. And this season, he's averaging 4.5 points per game in about 10 minutes of action a night. Next up, we got one of my favorite high school players I've ever watched, Mike Charavant. They call him Mongolian Mike. Mike was just a sophomore on that 2019 team, but he really grew into a phenomenal player by the time he was a senior in high school. Mike returned to Mongolia during the COVID pandemic, but returned to the States for his senior year of high school at ISA Academy in Ohio. He became a 6'8" point guard with an incredible feel for the game. He frequently made incredible flashy passes, which is no surprise because his father was actually a Harlem Globetrotter. Mike earned a 4-star recruiting ranking and committed to the University of Dayton. This made Mike the first Mongolian citizen to earn a Division I athletic scholarship. Mike is averaging 6 points per game in his freshman year. He has struggled with efficiency a bit, but there's many people who believe he could be an NBA prospect after a few years. Next up, we got Frank Anselm. He was another one of the big men on that 2019 squad, averaging 12 points points and 9 rebounds a game. Frank was a 3-star recruit and committed to play at Syracuse. Now, a similar story here. Frank didn't play much in his freshman year. He got about 14 minutes a game as a sophomore for the Orange, and then transferred to the University of Georgia for his junior year. And this season, he's been a solid bench piece for the Bulldogs, averaging 15 minutes a night. There's 4 more guys I'm going to talk about in this video, and these 4 were the stars of the team. Starting with another sophomore on that team, Jalen Green's little bro, Jordan Pope. Jordan and Jalen became best friends during that season. On the court, Jordan's role was primarily to be a knockdown shooter. They called him the Steph Curry of the team. But after that year came and went, Jordan's game advanced in a big way. The biggest moment of Jordan's high school career came last season as a senior for Prolific. He absolutely went off in the quarterfinals of Geico Nationals, leading Prolific Prep to a massive upset over the #1 seeded Sunrise Christian, who were led by Grady Dick and Mark Mitchell. Jordan finished that game with 5 threes and 23 points, and I had the chance to talk to him immediately following that game.
I'm sure this is probably the biggest game of your life. How are you feeling right now?
Sure, I don't even know. I'm just proud of my guys, and we fought to the very end. I'm glad we get the job done. Still in shock right now, kinda.
You're really good friends with another former Prolific Prep guard, Jalen Green. What would he say about this performance?
You a dog. You a killer. Keep going.
Jordan committed to play at Oregon State and has been one of the most productive freshmen in the country this year. He is leading that Oregon State team in scoring at 13 a game and is shooting 39% from behind the arc. This production is especially impressive considering he was the 171st ranked player in his high school class. Next up, we got Coleman Hawkins. Coleman was a 6'9" versatile wing/big man hybrid for that Prolific Prep team. He ended up committing to Illinois and has taken on a bigger role in each of the 3 years he's been with the Fighting Illini. He averaged 1.4 points per game as a freshman, 6 points as a sophomore, and now he's averaging 10 points, 7 boards, and 3 assists per game as a junior. Coleman is now being looked at as a legitimate NBA draft prospect. Scouts love his ability to defend multiple positions and his ability to pass the ball on offense at 6'10". Looking back, this is just another example of somebody that was severely underrated in high school. Coleman was ranked 168th in his class. It's crazy to me that a team as popular as that Prolific Prep squad had so many underrated players. Next up, we got Namari Burnett. Namari was the 2nd best player on that Prolific Prep squad, ranked as a 5-star recruit. In that 2019 season, Burnett averaged 26 points, 7 rebounds, and 6 assists. Namari originally committed to Texas Tech. He played in 12 games for them as a freshman before leaving mid-season due to personal reasons. Namari announced that he would be transferring to Alabama after his freshman year. But unfortunately, in the fall of his sophomore year, he suffered an ACL tear that put him out that entire season. This year, he finally made his return to the court and has averaged 7 points per game for the Crimson Tide. Namari showed that he has an incredible amount of talent when he was in high school, and I expect him to have a huge senior year of college next season. And finally, we got Jalen Green. Jalen was a human highlight reel in high school. The reason that Prolific Prep team blew up the way it did. He was averaging 32 points, 8 rebounds, and 5 assists per game. Jalen made a somewhat surprising decision when it came to his career post high school. He joined the first ever G League Ignite team, surpassing college. This did work out for Jalen as he proved he could get buckets against grown men in the G League, and he went #2 overall in the 2021 draft to the Rockets. And now Jalen is in his 2nd NBA season, averaging about 22 points per game. If you enjoyed this video, make sure you check out the Where Are They Now video we did about Jimmer Fredette. A lot has happened in the career and life of Jimmer since he took over the basketball world at BYU. And as always, thank you guys so much for the continued support and for liking these videos, leaving comments. It means the world to us, and we'll see you in the next one.